Pleasant Kenobi is also on, and he brought a good point. Beast Within was considered a color pie break, honestly, because it dealt with everything, is what he brought up. Now, interesting enough, it's a color break from Blue.
Yeah. They've in different formats, and granted, Beast Within is an interesting one, because Beast Within was actually printed into Standard, right? So Beast Within was a card you could play in Standard. But like, you now look at a Generous Gift in white, right? So you have the same card in white, even though white didn't really need it. You have Chaos Warp in red, which is another card was never in Standard, but like another weird color pie break. They do it. They like to give us cards that are like, they're all 3 mana instants, right? Yeah. I like Chaos Warp. Do you think Chaos Warp could get printed into Standard, or do you think it's too good?
Well, Mark Rosewater has said that it's like the biggest color pie break that makes him angry.
Ever? Yeah.
Like, I don't know if ever, because like, I think that a lot of the stuff they did in Time Spiral Block, they like get mad at themselves about, because it like creates a precedent that they don't want to exist in the world. But I don't think that's ever going to Standard.
That card's so sweet.
It's really good. I mean, it's the reason it's really good, because it does something that red shouldn't be able to do.
Yeah, but the funny part about that card is, and this is blowing my mind, so every once in a while we bring up this format, Highlander Gauntlet, and that's a perfect Gauntlet card, because it's very powerful and it's red. It's gotten cut from my wheel. I don't play it in the Gauntlet anymore.
Well, that makes more sense to me than even its utility in Commander, right?
Right.
With Chaos Warp, I think that you have a card that allows the colors you're in to be able to handle threats, and in Highlander Gauntlet, there's no color restrictions, right? You can splash colors, you can play 3 colors, you can figure that out. Where in Commander, if I'm playing a red-green deck, Chaos Warp is the only card available to me and Beast Within to answer threats, right? If I'm playing mono red, it's literally a card I have to play, otherwise, like, I'm playing wrong.
At one point, it seemed like an auto include in every Gauntlet, but I was surprised when it got cut. So yeah, it's definitely an interesting color pie break. So kind of getting back to the conversation,
do you guys think that Chaos Warp would be like an interesting Modern card? What do you guys think about it in the context of Modern? Like if it was in Modern Horizons 2?
Okay, so Chaos Warp in Modern. If the question is, do we think that makes? Let's start with red. Does Chaos Warp existing for mono red decks, is that something that's going to be problematic?
Not problematic. I think they would play it. I think Scred Red would snap like a card like that available to them. Being able to handle, especially in the format as it is now, we are living currently in a world of too many diverse threats for any specific card to answer, which is one of the reasons this week we talked about on the Hot Take Force of Will, or last week on the podcast we talked about Force of Will being the like card to include. Or a card that could be added to Modern, because Modern needs no blanket answers. This being a good red one works for me, and I think Scred would play it, and I think other mono red decks would definitely consider it.
Well, do you need to be mono red? I mean, if you're like a Grixis Shadow or something, some type of Grixis control, or do you think that decks like that would be interested in it as a way to deal with like enchantments or something out of the sideboard?
Where I think about it is, okay, if I'm a red deck and primarily like my best way of dealing with Planeswalkers is damage, I like the idea that I can have Chaos Warp either in my deck or in my sideboard to handle a high loyalty Planeswalker, dealing with Oko or dealing with Teferi, 5-minute Teferi. He's played less, but he's still high loyalty. Mm-hmm. And when you're in a situation where they've set up with a counterspell and your one burn spell is not going to get the job done, having access to Chaos Warp in those situations for a red deck is pretty instrumental.
I also think just like anytime I'd put Wear and Tear or a card like that in my sideboard, Chaos Warp is just as good, if not better. Like the fact that it can... It as a 15th sideboard card and even a 60th card in your main deck, it gives you just answers to everything.
It does not feel like
a thing that I am looking for regularly.
It does not feel like the power level of the card is pushed because it costs 3 enough that it would be problematic in Modern. I think it'd be fine.
In many ways, it's worse than O-Ring, right? Like, O-Ring, it's an instant, which is better than O-Ring, but O-Ring doesn't give them a random thing for free. So yeah, I think it would be fine. I don't know if it would even see play.
It would be a sideboard card, and some decks probably would main deck it. But yeah, I think it's an interesting thought, and I think there was a time 2 years ago, if you had asked me that, where I'd be like, nah, that power level is too pushed on that card. But I just think Modern's power level is insane now. I
think 3 mana answers to things have to be better at, like, Call Against Command is the thing to be judged against, and the fact that it gains you card advantage while answering all of the things that it answers is one of the reasons it's powerful, where this doesn't. It doesn't draw you 2 cards, right? It doesn't make your opponent discard a card and kill one of their creatures. It doesn't give you a card back to your hand and kill a creature, and this just being a one-off answer. Now, there's decks that aren't black-red, right? That would want to play this. and I think it has the potential to also be good against Planeswalkers, which Mulligan's Command can't do. And like especially in Modern right now, being able to answer Planeswalkers while also being able to answer an Urza is extremely important. And Chaos Warp, I think, would be really cool to be added to Modern.
Yeah.